So today I wanted to talk about classic albums I saw on the Joe Budden pod. They were having a conversation about artists without classic albums. They were talking about people like Cannabis, just those mid tier rappers, Jadakiss even saying that they kind of didn't have any classics, and that's why they were in that range, that middle of the pack range.
Mm-hmm.
Um, But I don't know. I don't know if I even agree with that. I feel like a classic album can mean I say one of two things. It can be a classic to you, and it can be an actual classic, like a unanimously a classic to everybody. Something like Illmatic or something like I say Volume 2 or Reasonable Doubt for Jay-Z or My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy for Kanye. What's your view on classic albums,
Man,
or
classic
what do you
albums
see a
to me.
classic album as?
My personal collection, Forest Hill Drive, J. Cole's.
Well, let's
Definitely
let's
get
start
the
with let's start with what do you see as a classic album? What is a classic album to you? What does that mean to you?
classic album has to carry throughout the generations. Classic albums got to be remembered, cultivated, and played until exhaustion. I feel a classic album really sets the tempo for the artist itself. You know what I mean? Like if we can go into their catalog and you can pull up your favorite classic album, that will still be on the shelves and play in rotation in some type of way. Either let's go for pop culture references and just get it into movies, overly played in movies and things like that. That's what I think a classic album really gets to. If you got all those things popping for you, your album is definitely gold.
I can agree on some of those for sure. The movie thing, I'm not too sure about. I don't know about that, but the other things, yeah, for sure. When you say it's played in movies, what do you mean? Like, give me an example of a
I
classic
say I
album.
do. Get Rich or Die Trying in the club. How many times is in the club getting seen in different movies and movie platforms over the last past what 15 years? You know what I
I
mean? You
can't
could pick
recall.
that up.
I can't recall one. If I'm being honest with you, it is a popular
Well,
song though. I would say that's more of a single thing though. I wouldn't like
agreed. Well, I
marry
mean,
that
nobody.
to. That's like saying like Illmatic is in plenty of like it's not. Nobody's playing.
Well,
Uh,
nobody's playing full albums in a movie
mm,
for for that one artist, but that one popular song off that goaded album is that's what I'm counting it as
but
the
even
album.
something like I just don't think it carries through to enough albums for that to be a hit, like a point of a classic album, like a classic album that's played in like I don't think that carries through for many of the classic albums on my list at least. Like, can you name? All right, so name your classic albums. You say Forest Hill Drives, right? Or
Forest Hill
was
Drive,
it
J.
2014
Cole.
Forest Hill Drive? Can you name a movie that used any of those tracks?
Uh, Not off the rip. No, I have to look that up though.
I don't think I've ever even heard a J. Cole track in a movie. Maybe like
Not
in
even.
something like Hangover, maybe that's like one of his pop records, but it wasn't on a classic album. That's what I'm saying. Like those two things don't really marry up together. I feel like being in movies and being a classic album. I've never heard that.
But all right, so going off tangent with that, like if I name mine Forest Hill Drive, Illmatic,
Hmm.
Nas, 50 Cent, Get Rich or Die Trying. I could actually do another one, The Massacre. Was fire. Um, who else? I can name off rip.
So that's a thing as well. If you can't name them off rip, I think that it's not a true classic. I think a true classic is something that is always damn near on your mind. Like it's not something that you have to dig deep for, or somebody else brings it up and you're like, oh yeah, that was a classic. Like most people, if most rap fans they're gonna automatically say Illmatic. They're gonna automatically say Reasonable Doubt. They're all gonna automatically say Get Rich or Die Trying. They're all gonna automatically say certain ones. So I think if you have to dig deep, then it's not a classic in my eyes.
I disagree. I disagree. I just
Mm,
think it's for me, like right now, like it's a memory thing, trying to remember the albums exactly.
mm,
And I love hip hop, but I can't say I always remember the exact album
mm.
that I listened to at the time that I like fell in love with. Um, so that I disagree on. Like just now, like I got like three more albums, but I just can't remember their names. I know how they look. I know the songs on the album and everything,
Mm.
but I can't remember the names of the album right now. Doesn't make it not any less powerful or classic. Like Jay Z 444 album
Mm.
that came out in 2022.
Mm.
That was definitely fire.
I think it
Um,
was fire. I don't think it was a classic though, in
you
my
don't think
eyes.
so? I can agree with that.
Nah,
I just think I looked at it from like
because
a political standpoint and what he was saying, and the album more as a personal best for me. And I'm not like a big Jay Z head.
I'd look at, so when I'm analyzing, say, a body of work, like say you say Jay-Z, right? And you
Hmm.
put 444 next to Reasonable Doubt. Most people are easily taking Reasonable Doubt. But you say Reasonable Doubt and the Black Album, all right, now it's harder because they're both classics. But I know
Yeah,
444 is not a classic because I'm easily taking either one of those other two albums over 444. Like there's no discussion. And also I'm not walking around bopping my head to 444 realistically. I can run through it here and there, maybe like once a year, but I would say Reasonable Doubt Volume 2 and Black Album are constantly in rotation. Like I don't think I can go a day without that being in my playlist or my whatever algorithm I have on my streaming app.
absolutely. I agree with that. I agree with that. Like, well, all right. So let me take that one back out the because that was just like a personal rotation.
Mm.
Let me
Yeah,
put out.
and that's fair too. I think people have personal classics as well, but you say you disagree with that.
I can disagree. Like, no,
Mm.
no, no. I disagree with it as far as um, not the part of it not being a classic or not, because you're absolutely right. It's not a rotation. Only one, the biggest song on the album was OJ. Um, and that was just the only thing. But nobody was playing that, you know, because there was too much cadence around the word, the N word, and things like that. And nobody didn't want to put it in rotation like that hard on the radio. It wasn't a radio hit.
Right.
Um, but okay, so I'm gonna trade that one in, and I'm gonna throw out Outcast, Love Below.
Speaker Box Love Below.
Yeah, Speaker Box and Love
Yeah.
Below.
Yeah, I would say so too. I would say in unison, I think Joe Budden podcast had an argument about that as well. I think that in unison as a double disc, Speaker Box and Love Below, it is a
Right.
classic album, but I wouldn't take Speaker Box as a classic album or The Love Below as a classic album. But together, they are a classic album for
Yeah,
sure.
Together was definitely a masterpiece
Mm-hmm.
by Outkast. I thought it was very well done.
Yep.
Bombs Over Baghdad, Hey Y'all, so on
Come
and
on,
so
bro.
forth.
For sure. I think shit. I would say this is a deep cut. I would say Chicken and Beer by Ludacris.
Oh, that's a
Mm-hmm.
nice one.
Yeah,
That's a
that's an
nice one.
elite pull. That's same year too. Is The Love Below.
Absolutely.
That had, I think, Splash Waterfalls. That had Diamond in the Back. It had a gang of just bangers, bro. And I feel like people sleep on Ludacris because he's like very mainstream and poppy, like pop rapper.
Right.
But he's got some bangers, man, for sure.
He
Word of
got
mouth
more than
too.
bangers. He definitely got a legacy, man.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like us as a community, we don't really see him as like how we see a maybe a Jay-Z or something like that. I feel like he got corny very fast. Like I'd say around 2005, 2006. I say like he just became like very corny because he didn't really have any like a shtick. He wasn't really like a gangster rapper. He wasn't really like a. He
He
was like
was
a
a bust
party.
around,
Yeah, he was like a bust around, like a party
a
tunes,
party anthem
entertaining.
type. Yeah.
You kind of need a music video to go with it. You need like visuals to go with the music. But I feel like he did make great records, and he had like a lot of connections in Atlanta to foster that and like help him make those great records. Even if people don't really listen to him or go back to him all that often, but there's a lot of great production and stuff on those. I would say
Yeah.
Lupe Fiasco, The Cool too.
Oh man, yes.
The Cool by Lupe Fiasco. I think for like an entire summer, me and my best friend, we listened to that record and played GTA 4. I say like it was a job, like 8 hours a day, bro. We would just
That's great.
run that album back over and over and over and over and over and over. And I think he actually just released another classic album. I don't think a lot of people are hip to it yet, but it's gonna be it's a future classic for sure. It's called Samurai by Lupe Fiasco.
I gotta check that one out.
Yeah, I think probably top 5 best lyricists of all time, easily, by a wide margin.
Most definitely. I got another one for you. Like people sleep on and go back to the South. You got Ludacris, but we got T.I. with King.
Yeah, King was crazy. Yeah, King was crazy.
King was
Absolutely.
crazy.
Was that Top Back? Was Why You Wanna on King?
Yeah. Why you
Yeah.
want to go and do that, love? Huh? Why you want
Yeah.
to go and do that, love? Most definitely. Now he had bangers on there.
Yeah, he had some, man. Yeah, he was I want to say he was. I don't know if he was beating out Jeezy at that point because I think Jeezy had just dropped. It's like TM 102 and 06.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he definitely beat out Jeezy on that
You think so?
easily. Yeah, because he also had when he came out with King, he had
So King was 06, right?
yeah, ATL came out at the same time, so he put it on the movie too.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, true. Yeah.
You know, at the
06
same time.
Jeezy dropped Inspiration. Yeah, I think he beat Jeezy that year. But he did have that Go Getter song. Go Getter was pretty fire.
Yeah, most definitely. Like he got tracks, like he got hits. And then like it is this too forward of me to say for Lil Wayne, all of the Carters?
All of the Carters is crazy because he's up to like Carter 7, and I think everybody can acknowledge that after Carter 3, most of them were stinkers.
Yeah, I
would say in all the Carters is probably not the wave. I would say Carter 1, 2, and 3 for sure. I wouldn't say all of them
the Carter 4
classics.
was goated too. No, the Carter 4 was definitely goated.
I think he had good tracks on there, but I wouldn't even say.
No, Carter 4 had Mrs. Officer.
That's Carter 3, bro.
No, it's Carter 3. Dang, I'm off.
Yeah, he's standing. He died on a hill that you don't even know where hell you was. My man said Carter 4, bro. Carter 4 was I wouldn't say it was garbage. It had good tracks, but it wasn't a comprehensive. Like Carter 3 for sure. To me, is a classic, bona fide classic. It had everything. It had the songs for the females. It had the party song, the Lollipop, Mr. Carter, Dr. Carter. It had Comfortable. It had Phone Home, Mrs. Officer, like you were saying. Like, bruh, it was a masterpiece for sure. It was a masterpiece. I think, and it was a great culmination of all those classic mixtapes that he was making as well, between the Carter 2 and Carter 3. I think the Carter 3 kind of just cemented, no matter how trash he gets, he will always be Carter 3 Lil Wayne to me. he will live in my heart as Carter 3 Lil Wayne before the skateboarding and guitars and shit. Okay, here's another question as well. Does an artist having a classic album exempt make them exempt from future whack shit. So
Not at
say
all.
the case of Lil Wayne, him having the Carter, I wouldn't even, I say Carter 2 and 3, right? Lil Wayne having two classic albums, bona fide classics. Nobody's arguing that at all. Not one per, I don't think anybody can say those are not classics. Having those two records, does it exempt him from being called whack or being called corny for
Not at
the
all.
future efforts that he made? It doesn't exempt him. So he still has to live up to his artistry, no matter if he made a classic.
100% sure, 100%. But I think what people fail to realize is like the more celebrity that you have, the less good works that you get. You understand? Like the more famous and popular people, like in the last 2 decades, know Little Wayne. Like he can go anywhere, and he can call anybody up and get a feature or whatever like that on track. So I think when that celebrity plays in part, I think um, a lot of artists actually like dull a blade instead of sharpen it. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
like
as you get more busy, for sure.
yeah, I feel like once they reach that pinnacle of popularity of people knowing your music, people your fandom, you have a never ending fandom now.
And
So
I
you
think
don't have to worry
it,
about nothing.
it gets to a point where there's a fork in the road as well. It's like, will I lean into, because you get more resources as well as the higher you go. So
Right.
it's not like Lil Wayne got worse mics or he has worse engineers or he has a worse booth or a worse studio. All those things have been magnified and multiplied times 10. He has the best of everything to record beautiful music, but his music has gotten worse. And I don't think it's because of any atrophy. I don't think Lil Wayne has became less of a good lyricist. I think that his ear, and this started to be an issue early too. I think his ear is so tuned to himself, or even somebody like a Jay-Z, where he's like, I'm telling y'all, I'm giving y'all the game, I'm giving you. They become so self-absorbed in that greatness that they forget. Usually, their greatest album was a culmination of all of the things that they listened to up until they made that great album. So when you start only listening to yourself, or you start only making your music and stop taking in the world, that's when your music becomes stale. It becomes stale, becomes dated. It becomes just something that people can't connect to anymore, because you're stuck in this world of, I really only need to listen to myself because I'm already great.
Exactly. And I think speaking like it's a lot of artists that got to that pinnacle
Mm-hmm.
and they have ventures and other forms of making money. So I could put Kanye West, Jay-Z, Lil Wayne, 50 Cent, and all and those in that category where if I'm making music, I'm just doing it for fun. I don't have no passion for it no more because I have so many other things going on.
Right.
So I'm gonna just give the fans something to just remember me by, or like the new thing is what we're doing now. The podcasting with the rappers and artists and things like that. You got the Cameron and Mace,
Joe
you got the
Budden.
Joe Button. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think I saw two more artists
Hmm.
that just jumped up and just did the podcasting thing because now they're looking at the podcasting as a new revenue source, which is cool.
Right.
But then you lose the artistry that you had when you was giving your fans the best of you.
Right. And you kind of break that fourth wall. I think, but there's an opposite angle to it as well, because you look at somebody like a Nas who
Mm-hmm.
kind of settled down, or even I would say the perfect example is somebody like the Clips. The Clips, they had, I think, 2 or 3 albums. Lord Willing, Till the Casket Drops, and then this one is the third one, I think.
Right.
As the Clips, but obviously Pusha T has had records and Malice has had records on their own. But I think that their ability or some of these rappers' ability to transcend time because they keep themselves, I wouldn't say up to date, I would say tapped into the culture, and they keep themselves current. They keep themselves current always. Because
Exactly.
Pusha T in the early 2000s. Then he was the Kanye protege, writing for Kanye, the good music stuff, the Good Fridays, all of that kept himself relevant. And then he went to um, the kind of this producer artist back and forth type of thing, that like Alchemist and uh, uh, DJ Premier, like where a premium artist and a premium producer just make an entire. And I think he had two of those, if I'm
Right.
correct. I think he had two albums like that, and those kind of kept him afloat and kept him current until this kind of Clips opus. He had Daytona and It's Almost Dry. And
Right.
those are like premium, like I think he did like a half Pharrell, half Kanye. Like literally the two of the best producers, current producers of all time. I would say of all time. Really, I can't think of any better producers than those two. So he's able to keep himself relevant. But yeah, living
That's to
in
be
that.
debated. You know?
You said what?
That's to be debated
What do you mean?
because you still got Dre. You know what I
Oh,
mean? You got Swiss.
the producers thing. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there's like a premium. Well, I wouldn't even count Dr. Dre because what has Dr. Dre produced in the past year?
Nothing currently, but when his artists come out, he definitely gonna be on that track producing those records.
That's imaginary. Pharrell
Actually,
produces records today. He just produced a winning album. Uh, Kanye produces every single year. Was it Donda 2, Vultures 2? He's all these people are relevant.
true.
So, and that brings us back to the, if you have a classic back in the day, do you just get automatically goaded, and you're just good? Because especially for producer, bro, you don't have to go anywhere. You're making music. Somebody like Dr. Dre, who just hangs on to all this old music, to me, he doesn't get a pass. You absolutely, you made great stuff back in the day, but I mean, ain't nobody listening for a Dr. Dre produced track. Like, do you even still have it? Nobody knows. The last thing I heard from Dr. Dre was maybe like an Anderson Paak record or something like that. Maybe
Really?
some older Kendrick stuff. Yeah, I haven't heard much of anything that he's produced in a while.
That's fair. That's fair. I think a lot of the I think a lot of the talk behind hip hop and real hip hop and who can be crowned. I think, like I said before, it's more of, I got it, I did it, I done it. Now it's just fun. So that's when the music does fall off and suffer. And that's what we as the fans fall off and suffer because we start to move away from the artist uh, for the most part, but we waiting for them to come back and drop some heat. You know what I mean? Like we still there, but we hanging on by a thread as the fandom. Like, so I think what a lot of classic artists, such as Wayne, 50, Jay-Z, Snoop, and they staying relevant in other platforms other than just music as of now.
Um, yeah, but I mean, this is a hip hop conversation. Them being relevant outside of hip hop, I would say it doesn't help maintain their hip hop relevancy. Like
Absolutely.
Jay Z, um, making a line of shoes or something like that, or let's say Kanye making Yeezys. Yeah, it can boost his wide, like the wider view, but him making shoes doesn't make his music better. I think you have to make
Absolutely.
music and make good music to be respected as a hip hop artist. That's just the way it goes. And
I
if you
agree.
can't do it anymore, or you don't want to do it anymore, then hang your socks up or hang your boots up. That's cool, but I do feel like it's a little disrespectful when like somebody like a Jay-Z kind of dibbles and dabbles. Like, yeah, you're doing some important stuff and you're making money and you're billionaire, yada yada yada. But if you're true to this and you're really the one, show everybody.
Exactly.
Do what
But
Nas is doing. Nas put out in the past, I think 5-6 years. Nas put out like 5 records. Dude, you're not
yeah,
that busy, and he does business too. He just what is he at the Ring doorbells? Bro just made like 70-80 million off Ring doorbells. You're not that busy, bro. You can make a high level record. And 444, that's why I didn't really fuck with 444, because it was kind of just half
mid.
baked. Yeah, it's just mid. It's just like half baked. I'm gonna just season it with some 5%er shit, and then I'm gonna season it with some maybe a thoughtful track here and a thoughtful track there. But most of it was just regurgitated. Like the lowest common denominator is gonna find it like super stimulating, but yeah, it wasn't really all that. If I'm being honest.
Understandable. But that's where it's going at with hip hop. I think the people that actually stand up for the culture
Mm.
and keep it going is the ones that's still relevant now.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
nobody's really talking about, Jay-Z current. They're talking about Jay-Z past.
Right.
You know what I mean? They're not talking about, but you got Kendrick and Cole's holding it down. You got Juice World. You have, and I don't even listen to Juice World to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, as far as keeping the hip hop going, it's relevancy. It's current ideologies of what's going on in the culture, keeping it fresh, making sure you're keeping up with today's conflict, and letting the people know, hey, I would create hip hop was created for the people to have a voice.
Mm-hmm.
Keep it going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Don't stop because you're a billionaire and you have all the money in the world. Great, but that's not what we ain't love you for just your outfits and Rockaware and Yeezys and stuff like that. Now we loved you for what you gave to us, Jesus Walks and all those great albums. Now that's the thing about
Jesus Walks was Kanye.
I know.
Oh, you said Jay-Z.
No, I was saying Jay-Z. I
Mm.
said Jay-Z with Rockaware and Yeezy brand, and then pivoted over to say like Jesus Walk was a classic song, but he's still going. You know what I mean? He's still dropping hits. He still knows like enough. Like I might be in politics over here. I got a business to run over here, but I'm still going to give you hits.
Word.
So Kanye understands the people comes first before anything when it comes down to this hip hop jargon. You understand?
I think that's more ego driven, but that's another video in and of itself.
No more. Kanye
If
is a whole video.
yeah, I think he's like a series. But if y'all fuck with the content, subscribe, come back and get more. If you got something to say it down in the comments. And if you like it, like it. See y'all on the next one.
Peace.